Pa-pa-pa-ra-pa, pa-pa-pa-ra-pa, pa-pa-pa-ra-pa. Due litri anche per te.
Hello and welcome to this new amazing episode of DueLitri Live. This will be episode number 3. I am Lorenzo and this is my co-host Pasquale. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Pasquale, as you said.
Like always.
Too fucking high?
Yeah, but
Like always, fair. Is it okay now?
Yes, that's perfect. Please go on.
Perfect. So, as
Okay.
you said, my name is Pasquale. This is Lorenzo. As you can see on the screens. So what are we gonna speak about today, Mister?
Today is in this magnificent episode number 3. 3 is a lucky number, remember. We are gonna talk about something that probably will make our channel close in a very few seconds, which is woke culture and why are we gonna try and kill ourselves, but of course because of you, and explain why, please.
Because of this golden envelope that I received.
That's so nice.
What is within this golden envelope? I'll show you. So it's probably mirrored, but it's the Winter Pride from COC. Pride, as you can imagine, for
Okay, it's now on
like
screen.
Pride Month. And COC is a organization, exactly. It's a Dutch organization, specifically focusing on inclusion for homosexuals. And of course, it's not only homosexuals. It has different layers within the company. But to keep it simple, it's mostly indeed about the inclusivity. And this event is it's trying to bring together a lot of companies, a lot of partners, corporations that they work with, to bring them all together. There's going to be a speech from Lady Phil, apparently like CEO of UK Black Pride.
Nice.
Sounds important. Really don't know what to expect. And then co-creation of a roadmap for inclusivity. All these leaders and companies that are going to get together to try and think about actionable strategies to actually make inclusion possible, I would say.
Nice,
So this
very
is
nice.
the pretenses and the context, and as these invites came to me, I felt very mixed feelings. I was like, this is extremely interesting, great opportunity for networking, and hearing different opinions, and um, but then I like a second thought struck, like really did strike me, which was um, what if what if I am, too center? What if I'm too white, male, privileged, cisgender for this event? Um, and then this how the whole conversation with Lorenzo started, and we started talking about LGBTQ, and then we fell onto the woke, and we thought it would be very interesting to to look into what woke is, how it formed, and a lot of its aspects, because as we found out, woke, it's a very umbrella term, how you would say, very big umbrella.
Oh yeah, it's a huge umbrella, not big umbrella. Okay, first of all, a lot of people may ask the question, why the fuck would you bother about this type of phenomenon? Let's say like very, I'm not saying extremist, but I'm gonna say it, very far left or far right phenomenon. A lot of people would say, oh, why bother? They're just enthusiasts, very
Yep.
hyperventilated, probably, being a lot of very, very passionate about a topic and making it to the extreme. So why, for example, don't talk this deeply and this very socially discussed also about other
Mhm.
phenomena, like for example in Italy, all these group of fascist, neo-fascist stuff like that every now and then go on the street and like to salute and try to indicate birds in the
Uh,
sky, bird watching, but at night.
yeah.
This kind of situation are always present in Italy, in Italian, let's say, public culture. But why
Yeah.
these kind of, let's say, events, let's call them events, are not as important as walk? For a simple point, that is all the, let's say, I don't know how to say it, the involvement in government, involvement in politics, involvement in anything that is not only restrict private groups. That's the difference, main
Yeah.
difference. So what we wanna discuss today in the basic is wokeism, the shift from being just an awareness movement to being an ideology, okay,
Yeah.
with all its negative implication, okay?
Yeah.
So, what do you know about wokeism? What do you know, for example, in the Netherlands? Have you seen it very diffuse? Have you seen very spread in politics? What is your opinion?
Well, in politics, not so much.
Okay.
There were definitely a few politicians that called for attention, called for a care, um, yeah, just to be prudent with
Okay.
wokeism, and
Yes.
they called it out for, about a way to limit free speech, and imposing their ideas on other people. Um, so I know that that is true. There is that perspective,
Yes.
but it's also very much true that there is a whole side of the Netherlands, especially within the academia,
Okay.
um, that defends wokeism, doesn't agree. It's not like in the US, let's say, as we'll see, uh, um, but there is this idea that woke people and woke ideas should be listened to, and
Okay.
they should not be feared or antagonized, um, just like you would do with any person from the far right. I would say you
Okay.
shouldn't antagonize them. You should listen to it. Um, Also, because trying limiting their their interventions, that would be actually going against free speech, you know.
Yes. It
So
would.
I would say in the Netherlands there is very much central, in the part, there is a lot of people from the left, Amsterdam extremely, a lot of people from like that are for the left. There is a very big a gay community, lesbian community, queer community, trans communities, in within the Netherlands. There's like a lot of acceptance throughout like this whole concept. um, so I would say there is quite a spread. I do think that it's more than Italy. Then
Oh,
you
I
can
don't know,
tell
to
me
be honest. It's um, like you said, in, let's say, politics, institutional presence is not big, because it's not
Yep.
big. But there is also diffusion. A lot of diffusion we can see in all the, of course, academical level, universities, all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, mostly between younger people.
Yep.
But it's not a uncommon things for young people, universities, students to be very close to some more radical, let's say, more radical groups in this
Mm-hmm.
case. So this is one of the reasons why in Europe this thing didn't really enter. Okay, it stayed at a level
No.
which is lower, a level which is not institutional, level that is not
Yeah.
important, if you want to say that.
Well, it doesn't affect people's life on a
Yes, yes,
policy,
okay,
on a
yes,
law sort of level. It is present, which is normal, right?
yes,
Because
bit,
it's topics that are
yeah, they're very discussed,
very
but
common and discussed, and that affect a lot of people that might be in it or know people within that culture. but I would say
Yes.
it's not like the
Yes,
UK,
it's not
or
effective
it's not
people.
like
It's not the
the
UK, which is
US.
the European example of being inside some bigger, let's say, circles. For example, the media
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of media coverage,
Yeah.
media policies that are about wokeism in the UK. But the starting point, the origin point of wokeism is, of course, like every thing that is questionable in this world, is the USA. So we have seen it. We have seen in the recent elections, for example, the Democrat Party in the last election against Trump was embracing a lot the woke culture, and is, for a lot of analysts, one of the reasons why Democrats lost to a person like Donald Trump, because this
Yeah.
too much attachment to attach, yes, too much of an attachment to these very extremist cause. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the point. So that's the spread of it in the world. It's not something that is global. It's not something that is discussed, for example, in some non-Occidental countries. Let's say, I wouldn't go in China and talk
Yeah.
about wokeism, but it's something that is very Occidental-centric, if you want to talk about it. Can you guess how it started? How this movement for awareness, because that is its, let's say, main mission, was awareness. When do you think it started?
Well, I know for a fact, as I was researching, that the term woke, as in woke, comes from the African American community
Okay.
in mid 20th century, um, especially called for the awareness against racial issues,
Yes.
racial injustices, for like,
In fact,
and
the
then it
first
went
term,
on
it's
to, yeah.
between 1940s and 1960s. That's
Okay,
that
yeah.
much time ago. And of course, as you say, it was racial, mostly about awareness of racial injustice. Okay, but it didn't have the structure it has now. It was not an ideology. It did not have institutional power. Okay,
Yep.
it was there. It was something. It was a movement, but it was not
Well, I believe
relevant. Okay.
I believe this was more the word itself. Was
Yes,
the use of the word rather
the word
than
woke.
a
Yes.
movement, and
Yes,
then
but of course, it's not a structured movement. Okay,
no,
the
no, no, of
term
course, of
woke
course.
comes from that past, that very agreeable past. Okay, let's say,
Yeah.
and it strengthened. It got some structure later in the first 2000s, let's say, at academic
Okay.
level. For example, is the first time where a framework, something more structured, came to life. Okay, inside academia, inside university, inside schools. But
Okay.
this is the time also where science, gender studies, and race studies started to appear in the universities. Okay, in the USA, of course, we are talking about the USA for this specific
Yeah.
time and period. Okay,
Yeah.
but for now it was just student movements. Okay, some university courses, nothing more than that. It didn't influence people's lives in any way or in any situation. The situation started to change around in the second decades, okay, between
Okay.
2010 and 2018, so very kind of recent, when it started to enter institution. What does this mean? Well, this means that a key factor, for example, are universities, where
Yep.
there were a lot of speech codes that were adopted by these universities. There was the introduction of DEI, okay, which is something
Okay.
very
Which
much
is
discussed. 1 second, I am going to open something else. DEI, you mean? And yeah, DEI, I know, but I wanna be. I wanna be sure, to be honest. Diversity, equity, and inclusion stands. Okay, that's what
yeah.
DEI stands for.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And are the policy bureaucracies that started to get into universities, start getting into campus and also companies. Okay, and it were also some more rules about what's moral, what can or cannot be said start to appear in these places.
Okay.
Okay, and
Yeah.
this is when the point is that this stopped to be a cultural thing, this stopped to be a movement, but started entering in governments. Okay, in rules, in books, and in something that really change people's life. Okay, because if a university says you can say this, you can say that, your life is affected by it. And in fact, what I am showing here on screen is the FIREorg organization,
Yeah.
which is an American organization, of course, that its main point is to rate free speech in different countries, in different universities, in different colleges in the United States.
Okay. I'm
And
actually quite curious.
yes, in fact, in their regulation, these, let's say, help students report unlawful use of college, let's say, rules.
Okay.
There are, okay, in this case, internet user policies, harassment policies, for example. Then we are going to go to see some statistics. Okay.
Bullying.
Yes, bullying,
All
but
right.
those are more like
Protest
Sorry.
and demonstration policies are quite interesting, maybe.
Where were you? Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. Here, protest and demonstration policies. But this is the laws. Okay, this helps people choose which university they can go. They want to go more efficiently.
Yeah. Obviously.
Okay, I had also something very cute. It was it was a very good college free speech ranking. Okay. It was this one? How? How did I find it? Ah. Okay.
FIRE is a great organization. They are needed when violent lefties refuse to let people speak.
Where are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm reading off the comment. Yeah, absolutely agree.
What comment?
We don't. I see Handfixer Cabell. Yeah, no, that's great. I think it's problematic that there needs to be an organization that allows that, but it's
That's
great
not
that
the
indeed
point of this.
yeah, no, indeed, that is it exists, and it's obviously very a very big issues if there are
Okay.
violent people to very extreme leftists or right wing people that refuse to let other people speak. That's not a conversation anymore, of course. Um, so yeah, I mean, great that
Yes,
you have
of course
FIRE
we have
problem.
to. Yes, there are places like this where important is not saying accusing people to be a leftist or rightist. I don't know how you call the one on the right, but it's the point is being together all together without trying to kill each other. That's I think
Yeah,
should
indeed.
be the focus, and
Yeah.
and it's very important that also these colleges respect the laws, because what I wanted to show here is how this woke culture came into the institution. Why? Because a lot of these, let's say, framework where the cultural woke culture method were applied were in the Ivy League universities. Okay, this university of this Ivy League is just a name to call some university. For example, Columbia University. Okay, that's one of the most famous. And in fact, if we are gonna look at this very nice fire, we see that Columbia University is ranked 256th in the in these rankings, so very low. And why? These type of universities were predominant in making woke a part of the politics, a part of the normality of the USA. Well, because there is a kind of disproportion between the importance that people that come out of these universities have in the media, have in the journalist world, because from the universities comes figures that are usually journalists, there are usually future policymakers, okay? They set norms. That's what their job is. So, of course, if you think a person that comes out, start working for some companies, some stuff, okay, comes out of an university that has already this type of normatives, of course, it's gonna have those normatives in its background, and they're gonna start putting them outside the university world, let's say. And of course, also a very important and fundamental role was the one of the social medias, okay? Because there is this very, let's say, common misconception, which is not really a misconception, that social media are populated more by people who have more liberal tendencies, they go more towards a left than a right, but it's something that is changing. Of course, there are usually people that share stuff on the media are usually more on the left side of the politics spectrum.
Yeah, I think that precision, that specification is very important. Usually people that share things in social and share,
yes.
and just because you often hear one voice, right, more often doesn't mean that they're the only one speaking, right? But they could be just very, very fucking loud.
Yes.
So
yes,
okay,
that's the point. That's one of the point. And of course, if you think
yeah.
the people that come out of this Ivy League, this university, usually, let's say, go in roles like HR. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can clearly see how these can very. Yes, you're. By the way, you are right. Usually, the more louder you are, the more correct you are. That's a very common misconception of social media policies.
True.
That's very also sad reality of social media. So this is
and
one of the reasons. Okay, yeah, go on.
yeah, and absolutely, like when you have these people coming out out of these Ivy Leagues, right, which are already so ingrained with all this policing and all this limiting of speech and of terms that you can use, of what are the correct terms, and how you can talk and what you can talk about, and what you cannot talk about. um, then these people come out, and they go and redefine inclusion. They redefine what is acceptable to say, what is acceptable speech. They redefine what is harmful and what is positive, and this like cascades just outward, like on a national level, and then also internationally, um, because wokeism looked small, like numerically,
Yes.
as we found, but it feels very large, like culturally, as a culture, like it reached across the whole globe, and it was seen in a positive view, and then in a negative view, and then in a positive, and then in a negative, depending on the contexts and on the parts, which we'll see there are just so many. So it's yeah, it can be an issue, and it was.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it was
think
an
it
issue.
is an issue,
It was a very
especially
big issue.
for the US. Yeah.
Okay, so now we are in a situation. Let's imagine where work is still small. There are not a lot of numbers. It's something that it
Drink.
was just Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. We also drink in this channel. We drink not funny stuff. We drink water, but next episode we will
Shoot.
do a vodka. It's okay. Now we're now in a situation. I want to paint you the picture where there are
Yeah.
this small numerical number of people that still follow walks, but with this immense and big voice. It's total disproportion. Okay, and it's something that is very strange also to think about how so little can do so much. Okay,
Yeah.
but now let's say at this moment it was not that relevant. Okay, it was not this much relevant. It was not very politically influent. Okay, something that made it more politically something that a very fixed point in time between 2019 and 2023 is when something different appears. No more legislation about DEI, no more stuff appeared. Something that made wokeism and woke normatives more real, and is its contrary. Okay, paradoxically, opposition can make a phenomenon visible. Okay, in fact, in these years, there started to appear limitation and anti-DEI laws that some states. Now I'm gonna share to you the screen. Okay, anti-DEI legislation, and this is maybe important for you, but I don't know if you ever noticed that politicians don't make laws for people just like this. Okay, they make laws if something is a problem, if something is very pressing. In fact, we here have a list of the anti-DEI legislation, and I'm just curious. So it disappears the page on Twitch if I do like that thing. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. I won't do that again. Good to know. Very nice, Mac. And these are some of the bills, the first bills that appeared. For example, in university, the Senate Bill 129 is one of the first.
Can you read me a couple, because I'm actually quite curious if there is anything
Yes.
specific.
For example, I saw. Okay, Alabama. Is there something before? Okay, no. Alabama, for example, is one of the first. Alabama on February 20, 2024, Republican Senator Will Barfoot, introduced Senate Bill 129. The bill will prohibit the state's public colleges and universities from promoting, sponsoring, and maintaining DEI offices and programs. It will additionally prohibit public institutions from affirming certain divisive concepts relating to race, sex, or religion. Okay, so these are properly laws that go against the principia of the woke culture, but they're all there.
That is very. It's very interesting to think, right? That the fact that the DI laws were made to, impact the university on a more positive level, to make it more inclusive, right? And then the anti-DI laws are, anti-division.
Yes, imagine also
So
it's very funny a Republican senator being more inclusive than a Democrat senator. That's
yeah,
super funny thing. It's like so similar to the situation in Italy when you see La Lega saying something inclusive that somebody else
yeah,
didn't say. What the fuck?
yeah.
What the?
Yeah, you're like, where did we end
Somebody
up when
did.
when the devil is like saving people?
Not the devil, let's say,
you
not,
know,
not the devil, but yes. So this this is this shows that woke culture became enough influential to require a response, okay, a political response, which is not something that happens every day. After that, we have something different because we see woke in the biggest of the political level in the United States, which is woke being inside the Democratic Party. Okay, I want to say wokeism did not take control of the Democratic Party. Okay, but in a way it strongly influences its language, because of course among activists, among university educated elites, of course, if somebody comes out Columbia University, Harvard, stuff like that, it will probably go in a very important role in some of these, and probably in politics. And what I wanted to see here, yes, and this also is, of course, one of the reasons that the Democratic Party lost, because, for example, lost leadership inside, because there were a lot of internal democratic tensions, because being also the difference between liberal and woke, we're going to discuss it later, but usually the Democrats were liberals, and there was the discussion about liberals and Democrats and woke pro, and it's funny also. And okay, I'm gonna show you something, which is some rankings, some statistics made by the PEW Research Center, which is a center in the US that makes, let's say, farms. It makes stuff like that. It's a research center that text people knowledge on stuff. This, for example, is a research about DEI in the workplace, and this is shown. Okay, there are wide partisan differences in the view of workplace DEI. Okay, most democratic and democratic-leaning workers, 78%, say focusing on DEI at work is a good thing, compared to the 30% of Republicans and Republican leaners. Okay, so this means that something that was inside the woke culture got inside the Democratic Party, because something very representative of the woke culture, like DEI, was very pro this stuff. Okay, what did you say?
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I think it can be viewed as something outside, right? The woke culture. It definitely originated from that. I don't believe that there should be absolutely no limitations to what you can say.
But DEI
Especially,
is not saying. Okay, DEI is about hiring. Okay, we are talking about diversity. Okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
yeah, but the diversity, equity, and inclusion means that you should not be biased against what is different to you, right?
Okay.
And you should be aware of your bias in order to make an unbiased decision. But that doesn't necessarily means that you need to make those quotas, right? Like, I think we're all, I hope we're all against those fixed quotas. I think you are. That like the pink quota with like 50% of the
Yes.
company needs to be female, or the gay quota, where, I don't know, based on the percentage of homosexuals within the country, then you should have that's not representative at all, and it's I don't think it's
Um,
fair, huh?
yes,
Because
but
if yeah,
that's this point of view you say about the being acknowledging one's bias. Okay,
yeah,
that's important, I know, but that is not what really the EA is for. Okay, the
hmm,
EA, I think that what you're saying is more of an inclusion. It's more of
yeah,
general
okay, yeah,
inclusion.
you're right,
Okay,
yeah,
a more civil right. No, civil rights is not. Yes, also civil right, because there are also homosexual people that. Okay, but it's more an
yeah,
inclusion stuff. DI is something that, let's say, leans in a way towards inclusion, but also tells you what to do. And in fact, now we're gonna, in a second, look at the difference.
okay,
Uh,
okay. No, then i'm
so
gonna i'm
there are
gonna leave you the state.
also what you're saying about the quote rosa in Italian. Okay,
Yeah.
it's more something like that. It's something that, okay, hiring a person, okay, I'm hiring person A and not person B. Why? Yeah, because person A has some racial origins, has some specific sexual identity, stuff like that. That is more DEI. Is
Yeah. Okay.
more active research of something different. And it's literally what you're saying. Okay, in the company, we need to have. It's a very funny joke. We need to have two blacks, two Jews, two what the hell it is. Okay, I'm joking, of course, but
Hmm.
it's more something active. It's not an inclusion, let's say, problem.
Okay. Okay.
And by the way,
Understandable.
this was just to show you that the AI, which is something very
Liberal.
woke, more than liberal, because the
Okay. Yeah.
AI was born in colleges, was born
Yeah.
in in woke, let's say, places, to be very general. This is to show that a big part of Democrats are pro DI. Okay,
Yeah.
so this means that this legislation, this way of thinking, directly went inside politics. A big chunk of American politics, I would say, because it's only, let's say, two parties, to be very
Yeah.
general. Something else is also DEI in school, we're going to see here. It's not going to surprise you, but data are pretty similar.
Partisan and
Okay.
School District mission statements. Yeah.
Okay.
2023. Yeah.
2023, yes.
Dive brief.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion are far more likely to be featured in schools district mission statement in areas where the majority voted for Joe Biden in 2020, so Democrat Party.
Yeah.
So what else mission statement means? I don't know.
Okay. Overall, 34% of districts emphasize the importance of DEI in their educational commitment and priorities. That's very interesting. And
Yes.
priorities.
Oh,
Sorry.
mission statement.
That
Okay,
fell.
I'm very now. Sorry.
Yeah. That fell far behind other mission statements. Topics such as future readiness. Okay. Safe and healthy environments. That's quite interesting. Parent and community involvement. That's insane. Uh, Academic programs and developing academic skills. Okay, that's very close to a lot of very important things.
Yes, it is. It's because these are a lot of other data which are outside of point of discussion. Uh, okay, no, we don't care about this stuff here. Okay, so this again represents that it started to be inside everybody's life. Okay, it started to be inside school. It started to be the policies in workplace and in politics with the Democratic Party. But for example, now it's a correction. I want to make a very important correction about calling this woke enthusiast people, calling them libertarian. Okay? Because what is libertarianism? I don't know how to fucking say it. It's a super difficult word for me. But libertarianism and woke culture are often confused or placed at the same social level in debates. Okay? But they are built in very different principles. For example, libertarianism starts from the individual and prioritizes freedom from coercion. Its core idea is that people should be free to speak, think, and associate as they wish, even when ideas are offensive or unpopular, as long as they don't, of course, directly violate laws, they don't kill each other, and that's all. It's freedom.
Okay.
Instead, woke culture is start from groups and power structure, and it's focused on not on only freedom but on protecting from harm. Okay, it's different, including of course symbolical and psychological harm. Because of that, these people that believe in wokeism are more willing to regulate language, norms, and behavior, especially in institutions like universities and workplaces. Un attimo solo, facciamo un zoomino perché non vedo un cazzo. Yes, I don't see shit. How do you zoom on a Mac? No idea. Okay, no. Okay. So the main difference, to be very specific and not look at my reading skill, is that in a more libertarian way you don't act on those stuff that can be offensive or can be harmful.
Yeah.
Wokeism, in the contrary, want to act on it. So is very willing to add normatives, add laws, add rules in every sectoral way to try and negate this probable harm that may be caused to someone or something or what they identifies as. That's it.
But that is go on.
No, libertarianism in a way, let's say, wants the state, the law, to be outside and not to be involved in more personal matters. Okay, that's the main point.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think the not acting, right? Like I don't agree necessarily that is the good thing, or there's the positive things that they're not doing anything right about it. Shouldn't be maybe the good thing, but I also disagree that limiting free speech and limiting certain things, then that is not like a solution, or that's not like a positive way to go about it. And I mean, I feel like, especially whenever it comes to free speech, you cannot limit that, right? And I heard this very important thing, I don't remember where, right? But what we should do is respond to the message, right? Deal with
What
the
message? Oh, okay.
Just in general, right?
Okay.
Whenever somebody is speaking, if you made the example before, right? In Italy with the neo-fascists, right? There you don't deal with the messengers, right? You deal with the message. You know that fascism is wrong, that everything, right? You don't go and bring them to a fucking prison and or beat them up, or but you logically and critically deal with the message. That should be the same. That should be always the same, right? When something is very offensive, if something is really bad, you don't take that person and you take it out or something. Well, obviously, if they're violent, if they're actually actively encouraging hate and encouraging violence, like, of course, that is something different. That is hate speech. That is that can be illegal in some ways. But I'm just saying, like, if it's like you can act on the message, you can respond to the message rather than the messenger. So in this case, wokeism could still be active, and not maybe in a more positive way, or liberal. That's quite encouraging hate is different than encouraging violence. No, hate is violence. 100%. 100%. Hate is a form of violence. It can be psychological, more psychological, 100%. But violence can indeed also be psychological. So encouraging hate it's illegal, but no. I disagree with you, and
hate,
I think that
it's
is
something that should not be that common in this world, in my opinion. Should not be in people's minds every time. There's too much hate. I see in the USA now, the situation is, is scary. No, by the way,
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you in some way, but let's say not acting is not do anything. Okay, not acting is not make rules that
No,
that make me not
absolutely,
speak. Okay, that's the point. That's
absolutely,
the point.
absolutely agree with
If
that.
there's something
Absolutely agree with that.
wrong, if there's something wrong, it will not be let. Okay, it will not. It's not.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, yeah.
It's very easy to confuse the fact that okay, so every crime I make a I hate you, I say something bad about you, I hurt you because of your race, of your sexual identity. You are not unpunished. That's the point.
Hmm.
That's the difference. It's something that I want to specify very importantly. Okay,
No, absolutely.
and in
I
the
do
other
agree with
like
that.
go.
No, yeah,
Yes.
it's just a very it's a gray area, right? Because you don't want to go against free speech, you don't want to limit somebody's freedom, um, but you also don't want to not do anything. So of course, if somebody commits a
What do you mean with
crime,
anything? What do you
that's
mean with
their
anything? What do you mean? Yes. Okay. What do you mean with anything?
well, you can actively communicate what might be a more positive um, way of speaking. You can encourage a more positive behavior, more inclusive behavior.
Okay.
You can encourage that. You can always encourage that. And when you have the opposite, when you have the opposite, you can break that down. You can go against it, right? Not cutting it off, not sending them away in prison, but just responding to the same speech with another speech that is like free speech. That's how discussions, that's how conversation are made,
Oh yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
debates are made, and that's how society advances. But it's very important not to limit free speech because exposure is extremely important for to build that resistance, to build that yeah the resistance that people have. Something that's new is very scary, but if you go through the same thing a few times, then you're fine. And of course, I think
Okay.
trying to create a comfortable environment for everybody is very important, but it's impossible to limit everything. So you should try to
Oh yes, it's
educate everybody. You should try to educate. I think that's the correct word. With education, you can fight that ignorance, and you can push for a conversation. You can push for a better debate, right?
read the message in the chat, please.
Wait 1 second. So if I were to say I hate Donald Trump, that would be the same as I want to see Donald Trump get killed. No, no. Obviously, that's
I can't hear
something.
you anymore.
You cannot hear me, bro. Can you not hear me?
No, no. Now I hear you. Sorry. Live should be good. I was just the
Yeah.
our
Okay.
connection.
Okay. I was just responding to Han Fixar. So if I were to say I hate Donald Trump, that would be the same as I want to see Donald Trump get killed. No,
No, it's not
you
the same
are
thing, but
communic.
you know.
No, 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 absolutely. But hating Donald Trump could be a form of violence. Uh, but violence can also be hate. I think they're not the same thing.
You know.
So but they do overlap in a certain way, in a certain context. Obviously, if you make it extreme, if you make an extreme example like that, that's very different. But if I let's say that I hate homosexuals. I don't. I have
Yes, that's more
many
appropriate.
friends. Just okay.
Not hating
I
homosexuals,
hate
please.
homosexuals. That would be a form of violence against homosexuals that can be psychological. It can be a sort of on an institutional level. It can be many things, but
By the
it
way,
can be
no
seen
hate
as
is
as a
not violence.
yeah. So hate.
You are in this example. You are in this world. You are free to hate who the fuck you want. If I hate
Exactly.
the guy on my left, on my right, as for you, I don't know how on my it's complicating. On my right for you,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's
I should be
thing.
able to hate him with no problem. You hate person, hate that person.
Yeah.
Hating is not the point here. Is the point of what we are saying. It's more about discrimination. If you hate a certain category of people, let's say, to be very general, and you discriminate this category of people just based on your hate or based on something else, as that is something to be not followed, to be not
Yeah. I mean, if you act
accepted,
on
more or
your
less.
if you act on your hate, uh, discrimination is fine if you believe in free association. What is free association?
It's,
I'm sorry, I am not.
no, it's like protests, my friend. Being able to associate peacefully to protest. Discrimination is not very fine, but you know, in any case, it's discrimination is fine. Oh, you can choose that.
Free association is a psychological technique popularized by Sigmund Freud, where individuals verbalize all thoughts that come to mind without censorship. Now, it's okay. Uh, you can choose what I associate with or not associate with.
Yes, in your private life, you can do the
That
fuck
is,
you want. To
yeah.
be
You
honest,
you can,
you should
yeah,
not
yeah,
be
exactly. You can
biased
choose
by
what you
anything.
associate and what you don't associate with, but you cannot actively discriminate against a group of people depending on race or on their sexual orientation or
No, it's not.
whatever sort of, if you actively discriminate against them, that means that if you are an employer, you don't hire people that are black. If you are from HR, you give a lower recommendation for somebody that is gay. No, you can't. That's illegal. You shouldn't. And maybe you can, right? Because unfortunately,
In
there
your
is
private
no.
matter, you can do what you want,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
in that.
And after that,
Yeah,
if you are something hiring, and you want to discriminate something, that's another story. In my
yeah,
way, okay, in my view.
100%. No, you
Your personal life,
so
do what you want, man.
then like discrimination, like if that's in your head, that's absolutely fine. If you act it out, that has a real effect. That is pretty sure it's illegal depending on the case. But no, you shouldn't do it. Well, there is a
Depends on
difference when
what
I
it's
do versus the government does. No, very depends.
well.
Really depends. uh
It's a very general
if
question.
Yeah, so
Thousands of outcomes, but
yeah, indeed, like again, if you are actively discriminating, which results like in an outcome for somebody else, if you affect somebody else that is being discriminated against by you, that is the same as if the government does it. That is exactly the same. The only difference is obviously the government affects way more people. You only affect one, but you're both pieces of shit. There is absolutely no
like
difference
that.
in this
Okay.
instance. That it really really depends on the case. Obviously, where We started with how wokeism was an umbrella term under like with so many things. We haven't gotten even there, but
No, we
so
have
you
to go
think
on
that
a
if I'm
bit.
wrong, if I own a restaurant and I refuse to serve black people, for example,
Yes, for sure.
I don't think you're wrong. I know that you're wrong. 100%. That is true. Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Because you're offering a
That is
public service.
racism.
That is,
Yeah.
you have a public service, and public means everybody. Everybody. If
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and I mean there is laws against that, 100%.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be you wouldn't be wrong only, it would be illegal actually. So yeah.
Okay, now let's deep dive
If a
into
black
the.
person
Oh,
if
okay.
a black person refuses to serve white people in the restaurant, are they wrong? 100%. Same
Yes, they're wrong.
same topic. They're discriminating against somebody because of race. It's not only they're wrong, but they're 100% they're doing something illegal. So yeah, yeah, absolutely same thing. If a black person against whites is a white person against black, they're both racist motherfuckers. 100%. Yeah, the situation is the same. Yeah.
Okay, are we done? Are we good? Are we all ready to dive into the fantastic world of? So, if you go into a black restaurant dressed up in a full Nazi regalia, the black person must serve me according to the law. Yes, they can. They have to do it.
They can also call the police depending
I
on
don't
if
think full Nazi regalia is a problem. It's a fashion choice. I
no.
don't think there are laws.
I think something with I mean
Bro,
if
it's fashion
okay, no,
choice.
let's say yeah no, if let's say that it is only fashion and they're behaving and everything, if there is no illegal thing happening, and if they're being dressed in a full Nazi regalia is not an illegal thing, absolutely, yeah, they should serve it 100%.
Of course, depends on this person, but if it's just a costume, it's just a costume.
Yeah.
It's you may not
Now,
like
if they
it.
start,
It's stupid.
if they speak in an aggressive manner, if they insult the blacks, if they act better, then the illegal part is forcing somebody to serve me or anyone else. This is free association.
No,
Uh,
no, it's their
no,
job serving food,
no,
so
no.
it is work.
Like it's not discriminating. You are free as a owner, as a manager of like a restaurant. If somebody is drunk, acting in a disorderly manner, if they're insulting people, if they're bothering people, 100%. You could send the full Nazi regalia dressed up guy out because their outfit and their kind of being there is bothering all the customers, and in that sense, you will have to go there and very kindly, hey, I apologize. This is bothering a lot of the people, so I must regret. I need you. I need to ask you to leave, but not you cannot just send them away because of that. Like
there are for sure
yeah,
rules, legislation about what a restaurant owner
yeah,
can do and cannot do, and I would say it should not be put together the topic of one dressed like a Nazi and one being black. It's a little bit stupid to address together the
yeah.
two things. It's not the same
Yeah.
thing. Okay, it's a
But also, I would want to say, you associating or not associating with a culture or an ideal or whatever doesn't change the laws that apply to all of society. You
yes, that's it.
can you can I can be the most neo-Nazi
Yes,
person
we
ever,
made the example in Italy
and
before.
as
Okay,
long
yeah.
as yeah, as long as I am not violent, I am not killing people. I'm not insulting people. As long as I live my life, I can believe anything I want to. You know. But that is free association. The fact that you're free to associate or not associate with something, that doesn't mean that you can discriminate against what you don't associate with. That is a very a clear distinction, and I think that's an issue that you have in the U.S. The fact that you cannot or there are instances in which this difference is not looked at, not pondered at all. Um, so yeah, little
Yeah, a little full.
digression.
Okay, no. Now, your favorite topic, understanding wokeism. Are you ready to do internal rebirth? I don't know how to
This
call
entire
it.
scenario was part of the Civil Rights Act in America. It is an unconstitutional piece of legislation. However, nobody challenges because it will be called racist. In practice,
Yeah,
this
because
only
if you will
applies
be
to
called racism.
protected classes in America. I don't know what's the
Um,
black
no,
or
I.
whatever, and I do not serve you, I will get sued. If I'm black or part of the protected class, nobody will care. If I don't want to serve a non-protected class people, well, that is
There are policies
uh,
like that now. We're not very informed on U.S. politics, to be honest. We
I
are
I I I
very far
I
away
couldn't,
from
yeah.
them, to be honest.
Yeah, I
If you
could I
care
couldn't
to,
answer you right now. If you
yeah,
can send a
as you
specific
what you're
source
saying
or
now is very wrong. Okay, because you should all be equal from in front of justice, in front of law. But
no, 100%. If that is something happening, that is a problem.
yeah,
Not because you should be able to send a black guy away because you're racist. Um, it's wrong because the black people shouldn't have the possibility to send somebody away because of the race as well as
yeah,
the white.
should be equal.
So it should be equal, but you shouldn't
It's very
move.
simple.
So if the scales are like that, you shouldn't want to move down to make it equal,
Oh, okay.
right? You should want to move the other scale up. You should want to improve, right? And then making
Yeah,
everything better rather than
that's a very common
going
point that,
down.
people think it's like a scale. Okay, if one is up and the other one is down, if they both go together, one lose and one win, it doesn't really work like that. You can both
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
be up at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly. You can both
If you
you
give
can
freedom to
both be
someone
better,
else, you
right?
are not gonna lose your freedom. It's a very difficult and to understand topic, but it's it's important. Okay, wokeism. Wokeism. Let's please start this conversation. I will
Yeah,
finish it
because
as soon as possible. And
yeah.
let's say, wokeism is actually not an ideology, if you thought about it, because it does not have a shared manifesto. It does not have a formal agenda. So what the fuck is wokeism? Well, wokeism is, let's say, it's a moral consensus, okay, with certain cultural and institutional movement. It's a cluster of ideas and norms that have been developed in different places like academias, activism groups, media, and institution, and all don't know really why, and they merged together. They became this
Yeah.
strange blob named wokeism. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
because they don't have what do we do in the world? No, they just do stuff. And so
I mean, true, yeah, true,
the
true. I
point
mean,
is that what it does is emerge through multiple issues, put together some debates, and they became connected for some reason, because some of the main, let's say, general points that work discuss are these: race and racism that we talked about briefly now, gender and gender identity, sexual orientation, equality versus equity, I didn't know the difference, languages and representation, power structure and privileges,
mhm.
discrimination and inclusion in institution, historical injustice and its legacy, okay, cultural representation, protection from harm, including physical, symbolical, or identity-based harm. The last point we already
Psychological.
psychological, yes, sorry. The last point we already discussed, because it's the difference between libertarianism and wokeism that needs to
Pretty much.
act with laws, with rules on what people can say to not harm emotionally or symbolically someone. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. So what we are seeing now, it's a very heterogenic list. In your personal opinion, should these all be treated together, part of the same problem, or do you think that these are a bit too different to be approached identically? Because we have seen a lot here.
So I think it makes sense, right, that all of these causes work together in the same direction, right? That makes sense, right? That you want to that everybody kind of loves each other, that everybody's fine with each other, tolerates each other. That'd be great. On the race level, on the gender identity, sexual identity, all of the levels.
Okay.
But there are different levels of discrimination.
It's a lot.
There is very different levels of discrimination that can be racism. That's an issue, right? Gender identity. That's already something very different because that is not so obvious. You don't go to an interview, right, and they ask you what is well maybe now in the U.S. they will ask you what your gender identity is, but that's not something
Now I
that's
don't know, to be
so.
honest, with Mr. Donald, but
Oh well, I
Some,
mean,
somewhere
Mr.
for
Donald.
sure. Somewhere for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking genius, Mr. Donald. Uh, yeah, so like that is not so clear as that they can discriminate against you because you identify like a keyboard, right? Um, or that is that can be
Why?
that can be equity. I am just saying, right? They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. Like they would
Okay.
see that I'm like they would see that you're black, but they won't see that maybe you feel like a woman,
You're a
even if you're
keyboard.
a man,
Yeah,
right?
sorry.
Let's make a more real
Okay.
example, right?
Okay.
So
No,
you're
no.
fine.
You are
So
super
there is
right.
different level of discrimination. So I think they should be pursued singularly, right? Each of them should try to go, and then as an after fact, as an umbrella thing, as a let's love all, then they could fall under a term. But I
You know,
don't think that tackling them all together like this sort of agenda, which I don't have. We just said,
you don't have.
yeah, just trying to get them all together just doesn't work. This
Okay.
doesn't work because I think like this you make a mess, you create internal division, um and you just don't, yeah, you cannot actually reach a solution because there is not one solution for all of them. That's the thing.
Yes, there's not one solution because what we see here are stuff ranging from civil rights because sexual orientation is a fight that it's happening from years now, decades,
Hmm.
I would say,
They,
to issues that
yeah,
decades.
decades
Sorry,
minimum. Yeah.
sorry. And there are also issues that are cultural and also economic norms. And how do you discuss all this together? You literally can't. So what we're gonna do today is look at them one by one. Ooh, funny. No, actually, we are not going to do that because that would be too fucking much. But something I would just skip very fast between the less important, I would say. Sorry if you are one of those people and don't feel represented. Freedom is the solution. And yes, freedom in the boundaries of a civil state, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
you know the difference between equity and equality?
Well, equity is a question of class, is a question of money.
You know, it's
uh
not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
what do you mean?
It's also about that. Okay, equality means giving everyone the same rules and resources. Okay.
Okay.
in this view. And equity means adjusting roles or resources to account for different starting position. That's the difference, that fight. So Wokeism fight for equity.
Okay.
Because there are some preconcepts that are cultural injustice, stuff like that, that people from certain races, from certain groups are inherently, let's say, unlucky in the society. So they should have a starting point, and that is stupid for me. Because in the whole concept of freedom and integrity, that should be, oh, we are all together, we're all the same. You are saying, oh no, we are not all the same, someone deserves more than others. It's not a concept that I would probably be very, very, very aware. And it is, let's say, spaces in everything, scholarships, works, hiring, stuff like that. Okay, so go.
I think that makes absolutely no sense, as you just said, right? Because in this case, and that's why I was talking about money, right? In this case, if it's only about the race, and I imagine then the conversation is about black American people.
Yes,
and,
that's
and
it.
the whole and the whole
because
deal
there is
of
not also black, also
secession
women. Okay, women should have more advantage stuff because they've always been discriminated in the way. It's not just race, okay? It's
well,
more in general. It's groups that
still,
have usually less rights than the white male, okay, if you want.
so if you are, this is my point. So if I am a male and I'm white, and I'm
Yes.
fucking broke because my mother is a whore and my father is a drug addict.
Okay, this is true. By the way, everybody, this is true fact.
It's actually it is actual fact. Then I don't get any sort of helps, because
No, you get
the women and the
helps,
blacks deserve it
but
better.
people have they need it before you for them because they come from a background of discrimination and social injustice. That's the point of equity. Okay, it takes in consideration
Very interesting.
theories that are theories like social discrimination, inherited social discrimination, like it's something. Then language as a representation. We know everybody with pronouns, all that stuff, albeit not harmful to other people. Inclusive language, pronouns, renaming institution or roles, avoiding terms considered stigmatizing. Like what? So is this more a language thing? But we all know the pronouns, he, him, all this kind of bullshit right here that make us more like cows than human being. Let's give us a number. Talking about a Nazi outfit, everybody with a number. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Next, power structures and privileges. This is the power structure and privileges reframes, let's say, a life in terms of power relationships. Okay, so there is simply the inherited disadvantage of some people, rich being always rich, poor being always poor, which is an interesting concept, but
it's kind of true.
But limited in some situation, because poor don't remain poor in every way, but rich remain rich. In fact, you are saying that it's a lot under the same umbrella. And in this shit, I would also call this not power structure. I wouldn't call that.
No. Well,
it's also has a problem in saying that what defines who it's easier to get the power to get money. It's also defined by race. It's also defined by gender. That part is, in my opinion, a little bit underwhelming. Yes, your is better. But the point where rich power position stays in power position, it's also true.
That is 100% true. But that is more. It's more the capitalism sort of societal structure.
Yes, there's more capitalism in then something else.
So
Okay.
it's not necessarily right about.
Yes,
So it's
that's what I'm
true, right?
saying.
That rich stay richer, and I would say that the power imbalance is the fact that in order to make money, you need
Okay.
money, and that is a power that you have. If people have money, then they can make more, whilst people that don't
That's
have
very simple.
money are just in a way
But
less
I don't
privileged
think in
situation. Yeah.
that way there's some discrimination of this that is outside money. It's at least it's not very related to race,
Well,
related to I don't know.
there is a thing which
Okay.
is if you the way you dress, the way you carry yourself,
Okay.
make a huge difference on how you're perceived. So if you dress in a certain way,
That's human,
if you
not right.
no, 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 yes, that is 100% true. But that means that if you dress poorly, if you have poor clothes on, right, and you go to an interview, rather than if you have a nice suit to go in the same interview, right, they will choose the candidate with a suit most of the time, and that is this is actually proven. Um, and somebody that cannot afford a fucking suit because they need a fucking job to get the suit, you know like you understand the
Yes,
kind of
that's
spiral that it needs. So there is poor shaming, that is an actual thing.
oh
There
my
is discrimination against
mm,
poor people.
yes, in some places that, in my opinion, are very not to be considered, let's say, actual, to be considered. I don't know. Okay, I get your point, but that's not something systematic. That's problem of that company. Okay, that has an inclusion problem. In my opinion, it's
No, yeah, that
that
is no, no, of course
I
it's
wouldn't.
something more psychological, more
It's yes,
societal.
it's another
Okay, yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
It's a different problem. It's a different of very old old-fashioned view on the world. Okay,
Yeah.
that's more like that. But the point that we agree that if you have money, it's easier for you to get money. We can all agree. Then
Yeah.
there is the very other point that is discrimination and inclusion in institutions, and is the AA, this death, is the offices, training programs, reporting mechanism, and code of conduct in university, workplaces, and everything. We already said a lot about that. Then there is historical injustice and its legacy. Okay.
Okay. So sort of like the whole thing that so the continuity between the past and the present. So sort of that injustice that happened just doesn't simply disappears, but its effects persist, and that neutrality preserves outcome shaped by history, in the sense that if something is not actively done, then those results will still show up in the present and in the future. And this apparently justifies reparative policies, symbolic action like statues, names, and blah blah blah, reframing of national narratives. Now,
Yes, it's
I do I do have to say, I do agree with reframing of national narratives, because we have seen that historical
I don't know.
an history, like let's say that
History is
in the
history.
US. Yeah, but the history is written by the winners.
Yes, of course.
History is not history. History is very biased. History is extremely biased, especially in the US. How history
You,
is taught,
not only the US.
it's
We live in Italy. I live in Italy. It's very attached to you know
but
the
but uh,
past.
but, but if you yes, 100%,
Okay.
you always studied your
Yep.
own culture most of the time, for most
Oh
of
man,
the
it's not
curriculum,
that. Okay, sorry.
because yeah, but like in like that like in Italy, we study our presence in World War II, and our responsibilities within World War II,
Okay.
before the switch, right?
Yes.
All the laws against the Jews, right? That whole thing, right? The whole chapter of history, quite dark, is very much studied, and there's quite a focus in that. Just like, let's say, in Germany there is a huge focus on the Nazi period, because it's very important to look at history, to analyze history, and to learn from it, right? Um, I think I
Okay,
think that
yes.
there is quite there is quite a lack of that in the U.S. From what I've heard from different people. I mean, that I've met, that I've spoken to.
I don't know. I think that bit more between, of course, Democrat people. Not, I wouldn't call Republican people very aware of history. There's a pretty good understanding that most of wars made by U.S. are not really are not really positive. Okay, like the Iraq, Iran, all the stuff like that, and also the Nepal. No, what the fuck I'm saying? The Vietnam War. It's.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's a very awareness of the situation was not
yeah. But
in
as in,
favor
like,
of
I
Americans.
no, no. But I don't think that is stopped almost at all. Like, I don't think that is
Okay.
that they're yeah thought about indeed those intervention like with the modern warfare. But I mean also um the whole the whole arrival of the pilgrims in the U.S.
Okay.
and how and how that whole situation actually happened. I don't think that there is a clear historical, the real
Well, that
historical
is. I know
perspective.
it's maybe your bias in this play because okay, it may be a cool subject to look at, but we don't really have the data to say that. In my opinion,
Yeah,
it's
no, no,
I
no, no, not right now.
okay. Because yes, I can imagine it be probable in some more Republican states if it's if
Hmm.
it if it's something because I don't know if there is a national
Okay, well,
national school program to be uh,
no, no, no.
studied in
Well,
the whole USA, but it's a very interesting topic to discuss that. I think
of course. Do you?
if you have
Yeah.
seen the, for example, symbolic action, yes, like you saw the protesters around the USA trying to destroy statues of
Yeah.
Christopher Colombo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's more about stuff like that. It's a critique about the past, about the harm. But I agree that understanding in a more, let's say, unpartisan, non-partisan way, the history is good, but I think destroying statues, destroying symbols, destroying churches is not something
No,
that
like
has a
I
real.
no, when I actually I have to be honest when I was thinking about statues name and curricula, I thought about making statues,
Oh
like
no, it's
trying
not making.
to
It's
put names, improving curricula, right?
yeah.
Not the opposite.
There are that no, okay, no, that I agree. Yes, that I agree, no problem. But there's also the opposite. Okay, I agree
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
putting
No, yeah, 100%.
statues,
No,
but
when you
every
said it,
age
I
as its statue. That is, I think, the most commonly viewed. Then I have no problem in putting statues that represent, women, represent black people. There are already, in my opinion, the point of
yeah,
an historical overview or review or
yeah,
rewriting is
yeah.
something that scares me a little bit. And yes, that's it. Cultural representation. Oh, this is oh my god. Into media, art, and storytelling. This is, if you want to make a stupid example, is Netflix series, the typical Netflix series, or is the whole rainbow.
Disney.
No, no, we don't talk about the big D. The big D, we know who has the big D, but we don't have to say it. Yes, that is what he's talking about: representation, narration, talking about topics that are more close to the world communities, inclusion, stuff like that. We know what this is. Protection from
Yeah,
harm, it's what we said before. It's making legislation, making norms to avoid that people get hurt, but not hurt physically
yeah,
because that is already legislated, that is already protected, but hurt psychologically. Uh, their identity gets hurt, stuff like that. That is what is, and it's let's say stupid again because it's it's like a form of censorship in the name of someone else. It's not censoring, it's educating, the point. And we already said that it's educating, not censoring. So now let's focus on the main, I think, most discussed, most looked at topics, which the first one is race. Race. The difference, a good view of this, let's say PEW of view or race. Do we need that shit? I don't think we need this shit, but I'm gonna show this 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna show this 1 segundo por favor. Here, okay, sorry. Yes, this is Black Lives Matter, one of the movement that started making awareness and started making, let's say, the world more aware of the style of communication that woke community has, but the importance that woke, let's say, doesn't really refer to racism as we may think about it. So it does not want to control the singular individual opinion, okay, but is, let's say, think about a systematic or structural racism, which are patterns in laws, policies, and economic system that will still, as today, discriminate people of color. That's it. That's the type of racism, and it's something that we already discussed before in another matter, but is something that is more than the personal, that cannot be legislated, because in the USA there are laws against racism. Okay, for wokeism is something more. Okay, so yes, of course, all these systematic racism is something that is purely theoretical. Okay, it's very described in racial theory, legal theory, and sociology. So these kind of studies that, as I said before, happened and started to appear in the USA between the first 2000 and the 2010s. That's where they started. Now they are very, very popular, let's say. And of course, systematic racism relies in statistical disparities as indicators, not, let's say, proof of these differences. As I said before, Black Lives Matter is something that puts the light very much on this question, on these topics, and something that is more interesting, let's say, about, not that Black Lives Matter is not interesting, but we know what Black Lives Matter is that the injustice against black people in the USA, let's say, police brutality, stuff like that. We already know.
Yeah.
But it is what Black Lives Matter brought into the table, okay? What normalized it, what it normalized more. It's so talking about racism as systematic rather than a personal thing, treating neutrality as a potential complicit, okay, and expecting institutions to actively demonstrate anti-racism, and framing silence or disagreement as a moral position. This is something that these are themes that come back also with other woke entities, let's say, like that. So in fact, race is also one of the many faces that woke has, because it's a more, let's say, sedimented concept in the American world, in the today world.
Yeah,
so
of course. I would say woke, especially as it's viewed and used right now,
okay,
falls more towards indeed the whole gender and gender identity and the sexual orientation kind of thing.
It does
Use
not
definitely
actually.
more. No, no. Well, I mean, as of right now, I would say that if
And
somebody use the term woke,
mm,
it has this connotation towards.
no, I wouldn't say that woke is something that discriminates races. If I think of woke, I think of inclusion. I think of those kind of
No, of
words,
course, I'm not. I'm
which
not. I'm
are.
not saying it discriminates.
I
I
think of
obviously
inclusion, and
it.
inclusion first thing comes to mind is racism because I think. But yes, okay. Uh, okay. Oh, I have questions, but I don't want to ask them to you, Pasquale. I'm so sorry. Okay.
That's okay. Do you want me to go ahead a
Let's go
little bit?
now. Sorry.
Do you want me to talk a bit about
Yes, please
one of the
do.
next points?
Please do.
Which one do you prefer I do? The gender and gender identity, or would you like for me
Oh, no,
to do
for
the
you.
sexual
No, 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 for
orientation?
you, for you. No. Why? No, I think gender identity is better for you.
Well, for me, okay, great.
No, it's not
Lovely.
for you. It's
What are you talking about?
for
Huh?
you.
Allora, at
Ah,
the
sta pizza,
time,
Pasquale.
at the hour. Yeah, we're a bit tired. Today was quite tough. Um, but we can I can close it with the gender identity. I'll just go through it. Um, okay, gender and gender identity. So
Yes,
something
there's
that's very
difference.
common in woke culture is here in terms like gender equality and gender identity used as the same thing. But these two terms have a very different meaning and different purposes. So let's look first at gender equality. This refers to the principle that men and women should, be on the same, level, should be equal, have equal rights, opportunity, protected under the same laws within the society. So, I mean, equal rights, access to education, protection from sex-based discrimination, equal pay for equal work, and bodily autonomy and personal safety. To point like the body autonomy and personal safety. Um, that's a very important point for abortion, but that's a different thing.
Yes.
Um, so the key characteristics is especially rooted in liberal and feminist traditions going back decades. Feminism is a movement from like quite very long ago, and I think
Yes.
it's possibly one of the strongest movements. And I mean, very fair. It's focused on sex as a biological category. Let's remember, don't get upset. We're talking about men and women. We're talking about male and female. We're
Yeah.
talking about X and Y chromosomes. We're talking about physical, scientific sex of the species. I am a male of the human species, like Lorenzo is a female of the human species,
Yes, of course. Yes.
and yeah, of course,
I agree.
um, something like that. So largely compatible with classical human right framework and broad societal acceptance. Oh, so it's about removing, barriers between the two sexes. Now, gender identity, that's very different. It refers to the sense that I have of my own gender. So I was born as a male, but as I was, said before, I feel like my gender is a keyboard, or is to make it not extreme and funny to the being wrong and being like not understandable. I might feel like a female, or I might, not identify with either. I don't think like I am the man, but I'm also not a woman. So,
It's
the
difficult.
core elements, it is very internal, is very personal, is a subjective experience. Starting from the fact that I will never be able to experience whatever you're feeling. I will never be able to hear what you're thinking. I will never, and even if we feel the same thing, because we say I am angry and then you're angry, we're experiencing completely different things because it's based on our personal experience, on our past life, and extremely subjective experience and situation. Um, there is a possibility to identify beyond male and female. Like I said, I don't feel like I am either, and that would be non-binary. There is a gender fluid. For example, sometimes I feel like a man, sometimes like I feel like a woman. um and I think that's you know or you might not you that you um well, there's a thousand cases, especially. I
Yes, we
think
know.
that there was one of the big critics was that there were too many genders because it's so subjective. It's it's very difficult. So there's an emphasis on self identification, so I can tell myself what I am, and there is a recognition through language and social treatment. Say for the pronouns, I think I am non-binary, so you should call me they, them. The pronouns that affects the language. It affects how other people interact with you. So this emerged more recently in mainstream, discourse. It's strongly influenced by psychology, queer theory, and social construction thought, and there is um, you know, quite a lot of things there, like queer theory, psychology is one thing, but then it's different aspects. Queer
Yes.
theory, I would say, it's a part of a social theory. Um, but then again, I'm not sure. I haven't studied queer theory myself. It is focused on identity and recognition, not only on rights, and it's more contested socially and legally. So, gender identity is about recognition of self defined identity and not just equal treatment. And that is that is a very sensitive topic, I think. Um,
Yeah.
so, the gender identity debates often mix three different level, which indeed can create confusion, which is the psychological level. So it's whatever sense I have of my person, of the self. The social, so how I am recognized by society, what pronouns they use, how I am treated, and also on the medical, right? That's like a transition related care, but there is many aspects of that. I believe that if a male believes to be a woman, then they will have more difficulties treating medical issues that is related to their maleness, let's say.
Okay.
Um, but there are a lot of few topics in here. But I would start first from a really easy question, which is gender equality. I think that's very clear for everybody what gender equality is, right? Um, but do you think that the genders are equal?
Should be, legally
Okay.
speaking, should be. Talking about, of course, Italy view, that is the world I experience every day. And in a very, let's say, stupid, maybe, and naive way of thinking, I think that it is partially reached gender equality. Of course, this doesn't mean that there is no discrimination. Two things can be true at the same time. There is, for sure, discrimination in some families, in some regions more than other. Okay, let's say.
Yeah.
But I think yes, gender equality is something real right now.
Okay.
There are of course problems, like everything. But it's something real. It's something more conscious. We're not in the 1950s anymore. We
Yeah.
went forward, luckily, in that point of view. So I think yes,
Yeah.
there is for sure more gender equality than there was before. I wouldn't call it total. Of course, I wouldn't call it 100% of the population of Italy is super gender equal by gender. How I wanna say it? But yes, there is gender equality generally.
Okay.
What do you think about
Okay.
it?
No, I obviously think that there should be equality, very, very
Okay.
obviously.
Okay, thanks.
Um, uh, I totally agree with what you said, especially how you said it. So I do think that there is mostly equality on most level, most things. I do still think that there is discrimination, 100%. But that is something that exists and it's very hard to take away. But it's on many
It's
levels,
it's in everything
not only by
discrimination.
gender.
It's my friend, everything. You should not kill. I want to make you this example. You should not be killing, but there is killing every day, everywhere in the world. So
Absolutely, no, 100%. No,
it's
but
it's hard to bring the cases to zero. Okay, it's something very
yeah,
difficult
yeah,
to do.
yeah. Um, I do have another question,
Okay,
which
oh,
which
question
which
time.
is which is kind of to put in relation the concept of what gender equality is, right? Let's say, and the gender identity, which is how do you think that the law should balance what like sex based protection and gender identity claims? Like there were
Okay.
a lot of situations where you had um, males or yeah males that identified as women
Okay.
walking in women's bathroom, um and there were like a lot of issues. So I believe that there was flashing, I believe that there was rape, I think, I believe
Okay.
that there was in schools.
Oh, nice.
uh so what do you
Oh,
think?
we have George Floyd again on the screen. No, 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 no. Stop. Oh, sorry. It should not be seen now. It should be us.
No,
Yes, it's us.
yeah, it should, yeah.
Very big. Okay, no, by the way, I think that there are still, there are already laws about gender equality, and there should be laws about gender equality because, as everything that, let's say, take a big part of society because women are 50% of us, and we should
Mhm.
also, not us, me and you, but us people, and should be legislated, should be focused on and we should fight for it, okay? But we have already done it, in a sense, in my opinion, we have already done it, okay? It's good to remember. It's stupid always rethinking, refighting like we live in in the 80s, okay, in the stuff like that. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Gender identity, I think it should not be legislated
Yeah.
because gender identity is, per definition, something very deep and personal, and you cannot legislate something deep and personal. In my opinion,
Yeah.
because being deep and personal means that it can be anything, and you can legislate anything. You can legislate any idea people can have. First of all, this is a very, let's say, extreme example. Okay, this is a very extreme example. Let's say something.
Yeah, of
Let's
course.
go back to Earth with more Earth-like cases. For example, you said men identified as women identified as men. I think that those kind of legislation should be uh, done, but they need to be, let's say, focused on some very specific categories, like for example, transgenderism. Okay, that is
Yeah.
an issue that is, let's say, that is scientifically calculable. I don't know how to fucking say in English. that is
It's a concrete.
is concrete, is something concrete, medically
Yeah,
concrete. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
there should be legislation about stuff that can be numerically identified. Okay, that can be scientifically identified. No problem with that. There are, I think it's called body dysmorphia, which is something a serious let's see, which is considered a very serious health issue, and there are treatment for that. And so yes, for that specific case, between those very simple borders, it's should be legislated.
yeah,
Other stuff I really find difficult to legislate something that is personal and not agreeable. Okay, because it's not agreeable. I'm not saying should not exist. Okay, I'm not saying it. I'm saying that it can be legislated. That's my
yeah.
opinion. What do you think about it? Because it's maybe
No,
different.
I definitely do agree with that. I do 100% think um, obviously like the two shouldn't be the same, and um, it's like gender identity indeed is so personal that um, I think it should be just that, right? It's a personal belief that you have.
Yes,
Um,
it should not be outside you. It's identity. It's
yeah,
personal.
yeah. I mean, right. I mean, so you might be like too extreme. Like it comes off that you cannot talk about it, right? But I think
No.
it should stay within your private um your private life, as other things that are in your private life that you don't openly talk to with people that you don't trust, that people that you don't have that you're not very comfortable with, right? Just like when you start at work and you don't just blather everything to a coworker that you don't know, but then after maybe a few months that you'll go out for a beer and then you will chat about very personal things.
Yes.
It should be something like that, right? The fact that you identify as a man or a woman or whatever else um, should not affect your role within society, which it's something that aligns perfectly with the with the woke ideas, right? That
Yes.
you should not be discriminated based on your gender identity, on your sexual orientation, on 100%. I do totally agree with it, but I do think that it should also be something that is private. Um, I do think that there should be any laws or legislation in order to protect certain cases, certain situations. Let's say with the people walking and raping in opposite sex bathroom because they identify, that is obviously something very fucked up. And if there is a way to limit that issue, then yeah, right, go with the laws. Um, but also, I don't think there should be any laws or any legislation on gender identity other than
Yes, it's
whatever gender identity you have should be respected, or that you should not be discriminated if you on whatever count of identity that you have. I think that could be something fair. But I don't think that there should be much attention within the law on this issue. I think it should be something societal and something personal of the individuals. Yeah.
you, yes, and we're gonna stay here 3 hours if you want to discuss what we think about gender
Oh
identity.
yeah,
Yes, we will stay here 3 hours, but not tonight.
yeah.
But
I mean, it's a
yes,
personal belief,
if we
like
want to
any
if we
other
want
personal
to
belief.
remain in the lawmaking aspect
Yeah,
of stuff, yes, we have the same opinion. So making laws for cases of transgenderism, of identity
yeah, yeah.
that is not sexually, let's say, also not sexually your own, and changing it to what you feel bodily, mentally, the fuck you want,
A hundred percent, a hundred
one you
percent.
feel
Yeah, yeah,
own.
yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that
Yeah.
should be legislated. Not gonna discuss anymore about gender identity, maybe another time. Now,
Yeah.
last thing that interesting stuff actually, because it puts some questions that are interesting. Sexual orientation is one of the other points of wokeism, very common points. But it's if I say to you, it's not wokeism, they just fucking stole it, because sexual orientation is very simply a civil rights movement thing. It's not woke thing. Pride assemblies are before that, okay? And let's say woke as
We gotta keep on listening.
yes, and wokeism, like they like to do, snatch it and put it under its own big umbrella. So, what is sexual orientation, my guys? In very few words, is who the fuck you wanna fuck. And of course, there's also sexual stuff, is who you wanna fuck, and also who you are emotionally attracted to in more than a friend's way. I'm gonna list some very useless names of typical sexual orientation: heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexuals. So these are all definitions based on sex-based attraction. Very simple. So, in very few words, the question you have to ask yourself when you think is, who am I attracted to, and not who the fuck am I? This is the difference between gender identity and sexual orientation. That's it. Are two very evidently different topic. So why they are also being put together? Also I think a very important thing is that these, for some reason, also for the fact that it's easy to integrate, legally integrate, because you simply have to say there should not be discrimination about who you are attracted to, simply. And the point is that this stuff is generally more accepted in a wider public than gender identity shit, because a lot of reasons. Because probably the main reason is that it's something that is more, let's say, that has bigger boundaries, that has some boundaries. It's more, let's say, focusable for the most of people. Let's say you love the fuck you want. And also because it's a fight that has been with us for a very long time now. You are muted, probably.
No, not anymore.
Yes, you are muted.
Not anymore.
I can hear you.
Not anymore.
No, I can't hear you on WhatsApp.
Not anymore.
Now I can hear you on WhatsApp. Okay. No, I was saying that this topic is very more generally accepted. Yes, I know that. It's very simple that what are the fights for sexual orientation is asked that people are not punished, are not excluded or harmed because of who they love. This is the concept that is a really easy concept to understand, and that's one of the reasons with time for it being more accepted, okay?
Yeah.
And it is actually a very positive example of how things in time, if put in a good way, can change. Also socially. Now, I think that, let's say, connect a debate very also internal to the woke community is why then we always hear sexual orientation mixed together with gender identity. Well, the first, let's say, very common symbol is the LGBTQ plus movement, which is lesbian, gay, bisex, trans, queer, plus, I'm not gonna say what the plus means for, movement. As you can see, we talk till now that orientation, sexual orientation and identity are two different things. So why put all these together? Why put all these in the same things? And that's also what they asked, because recently the LGBT community organization decided to detach itself from the rest. So they want to study sexual orientation based problem in a different way than TQ plus issues. That's very simple. I think that's all we need to see now. Yes,
No.
the worry is that, of course, in a very maybe egoistic way, but the world is egoistic, so I don't care. The main worrying is that all in the years, let's say, all the steps made by the LGBT community have been deleted by all the hatred that in the recent years went for the TQ plus community, for the woke culture in general. So that's probably why, and they fear that this negative effect that the woke has will spill and affect the more broad acceptance of sexual orientation in the world. That's what they fear, and for a good reason. And this topic is actually very, very debated inside the woke community. So,
Yeah.
now, in your opinion, because this is a very common opinion, that sexual orientation is also an identity trait. So I'm gay, my identity should be being gay, one of the many. Do you think that
Well,
sexual orientation should be an identity trait for you?
I think it definitely affects who you are.
Okay.
It affects part of your identity as a person, both as a person, but also the place that you take within society. Um, so that ultimately does affect your identity in a way. I don't think that this should be your identity or should actively be part of
Okay.
your identity, right? I think you can if you want. Everybody's free, but personally I don't think it should be. I don't think it's relevant. Um I've had people that I spoke to and I worked with for months before I found out that they were gay.
Okay.
You know, um and that has not affected obviously the way I saw them, and like the fact that they're gay doesn't affect the way they see themselves. It's just, it's who they like to fuck, it's who they fall in love with.
Yes.
That's all there is to it, right? um but I do think that it really depends how you're brought up, how much self security you have. If you're very insecure, I think you'll try to push it away, and then when you do accept it, uh, um, that you merge a lot with it, and that it becomes a big part of your personality. So I do think also,
Okay.
yeah, also how accepted you were, and if you're free to grow within a space of acceptance, that you can develop all the other parts of your identity alongside your sexual orientation, whilst maybe if that's not the case, it can lead to the opposite, really. So
Okay.
but
No.
that's how I view it. What do you think?
No. I don't think it should be, because one of my main issue with that is, don't you think that making one's identity the fact of being gay, making one's identity its sexual orientation, may be damaging to the civil rights movement path that has been through? Because what the civil movement right wanted to people not be punished, not be treated differently, and treated and let's say viewed, let's say, like normal people, like and normal heterosexual people. That's what they wanted to do. Wanted to go ahead their sexual preferences. So I'm not seen as, oh, you are gay, so I don't want to work with you. You are lesbian, I don't want to be your friend. Don't you
Okay.
think that this movement, this path that took years, when saying, okay, I
No.
don't see you. No, do you think you don't think it would be a problem?
I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that it should matter. Like first of all, I don't think that it's be like that people wanted to like gay people to behave normally. Because
Not behave
first of all,
normally.
what
Not
is
behave
normal?
normally.
No,
It's
no, no.
be treated normally.
And okay, be
Be
treated, but
seen as
you can be
normal people.
treated.
Be seen as
You
normal
can be
people.
yeah, but you can be seen as normal, and you can be treated normally
Okay.
with you know while being gay, being very feminine, being like overly dramatic. You can those two can
Yes.
coexist.
Yes, you can.
And I think the point and the main goal of these movements is indeed that even if you are gay, you'll be treated the same as if you're heterosexual, and those certain behaviors and those certain things will not be noticed as much, right? Like they will not be it will not matter the way that you behave, the way you speak, and these sort of canons, because that's normal. It's just like a normal homosexual, like you would do, like you
Yes.
said, normal heterosexual people, normal homosexual people, they're just all normal people. So I
Why
don't
don't
think
just
I
say normal people, normal
normal
person?
people, normal
Yes.
people, a hundred
So
percent, a hundred
your
percent.
sexual
Um,
orientation should be outside your personality. Should be outside your person. Should not be
no,
identificative
but
of your
but
person.
you're no, I
That's the
disagree.
fight. That's what they fought for. Being okay, I am me. I am a human being. You should not be caring who I fuck
Yeah,
with.
but 100%. But they have to hide it.
No, no, no.
Most of,
This
yeah,
is
no, no,
not
no, no,
what
but
human
but
movement
most of
is.
them,
My
right?
God,
Yeah, no, 100%.
I
But
don't
like
think
I
is
would say that
hiding.
most of them in the past, most of
Yes, in
them
the
in the
past,
past,
these
they
movements are
couldn't. Yeah,
latest year. Okay.
yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is, most of them, they don't. They probably grew, and I mean most of the adults or most of the
Yes. Okay.
all those movements, they couldn't behave as they wanted, and they acted normal, right? And then they said we should be seen as people, and treated normally regardless. Now that is the case, even if being gay is all that you are. If 100% is your personality is being gay, then you still should be treated just like everybody else. Now,
Okay.
can that
It's different.
antagonize? Can that uh, more easily antagonize somebody that does not agree with you, somebody that is on the far right side of the same opinion, of the same perspective?
Yes, it
Yeah,
will.
very likely, very likely. Can that affect the movement as a whole? That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, it's
I
possible
don't think it
because.
should matter, though. I don't think it should
Oh, you
matter.
don't think it should matter? Yeah, reality is different
No, no, as in
than
I
the
don't even
perfect ideological
if
world. It should not be.
no, but no, but as in even for the movement, if part of your movement
Yeah,
are just very effeminated gay people, right? They act very gay, and that's
that's a very misconception of the
and
world gay
okay,
population.
okay, yeah, okay. I'm just trying to paint a picture of somebody that's like extremely theatrical, that
Okay.
I would find even annoying because extremely theatrical, extremely dramatic. Um, you know that could indeed cause some antagonism, but that doesn't mean that it's bad, even though it causes antagonism to the movement in itself. As I said before, I think exposure is a extremely important way of creating resistance.
Also, negative exposure, you mean?
But it's not negative exposure, right? If somebody's like that, then it's not something negative. They're just like
It's,
that.
it's, yes, of course, I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
Yeah.
uh, you think that people, let's say, trying to, I don't know how to say, having bad view, bad opinion by some, let's say, far right person, right person would be positive. Also, I'm not saying far right. I'm saying center maybe. Would be a
No,
positive
as in
because it's. I think it would be a very negative thing trying to.
trying to.
Show this much this very personal at the end.
But you're not trying. You're not.
I'm not saying hiding.
If that's who you are, right? But if that's who you are,
what does it mean?
If that's how you are, yeah.
The fight is we are not just gay. We are human. We are people with interests and stuff.
100%.
But that is the fight that they fought for. Okay, and you.
Yeah. Okay.
They want to be seen as more than just gay. If someone says, "Oh, I am just gay," don't you think that this will be a little bit problematic?
Of course, but that's not what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
nobody's just gay. No, nobody's just gay.
No,
so I'm just saying that there are certain behaviors. I'm just saying that there are certain behaviors and certain
behaviors, of course,
attitudes that are very much connected to that.
But that's your person. That's not your sexual orientation. That's who you are.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
But that's what I'm saying.
But there's also be person that is heterosexual and have very feminine attributes. No, don't you think?
Absolutely.
So what's the difference?
Right here.
Yes. Okay. No problem. So why between you and the you but gay should be important to specify that you are not gay and that one is gay? Is it important?
But, okay. No, it's not important. But you understand. But you understand that the way.
No, I don't understand.
You
behave the same.
You don't understand. No, you don't understand. No, I wouldn't behave the same. I would speak different. I would use
no, you would not speak different. You would not speak different.
I would use it. Okay, I know these people. I know these people. There is people that talk woke vocabulary. They speak. Yeah, they speak different. They act different.
Yeah, that's a personality issue, in my opinion. No,
it's not an issue. It's their personality. That's who they are, and that can very much be connected with those things. Can be connected with.
I understand.
That's gay. That is gay, right? Because it's
also
very connected to being homosexual. And so if I look at those people, right, the way that they speak, that's gay. And maybe saying this is a very wrong way to say it.
You're saying, okay, because I don't know. I don't think it matters that much. First of all, I don't think one should change his personality because of his sexual orientation, because, okay, that's it.
But it does change your personality, your sexual
orientation. What the fuck, why?
Because you wouldn't, if you were gay, you wouldn't be like this.
I wouldn't fucking like vagina. I would like cock, but I would be the same person. No?
Possibly on certain aspects. Possibly you would be different
in everything,
on other aspects.
Because the fight is, homosexual people are the same as non-homosexual people. That's the point. Why? Okay, yeah, I am not super feminine. You are you are sometimes more feminine than me. With you, Pasquale, you consider yourself. You don't have super masculine behavior sometimes, okay, or opinion, or way of moving, thinking. The fucking one.
Anything
would be the same. Do you think you would behave differently if you were gay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, in what would you?
I don't know. I think.
Would you think differently?
I think I would definitely.
Would you not be Pasquale?
I would be Pasquale. I would have the same morals. I would have the same ethics.
So you're saying there are
I would go.
So you're saying there are traits that are for gay people, traits that are very reconnecting to gay people, because you're saying that he will change you in something more gay-like. Let's say like that.
I guess. Yes, I would feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Going in a certain direction. Maybe I could. Maybe I could. Yeah. Maybe I would. I would still be myself.
Okay.
But then showcase different aspects of myself more.
Why don't you do it now?
Um, because
Because sorry, because if
predominantly, yeah, I don't know.
why would
I
you
don't know.
fucking do now? There
I
may
don't
be
know.
some there may be some issue
I
with
guess
masculinity,
societal
but
pressures.
I wouldn't call you toxic masculinity affected, or maybe in some way, but
A little bit, of
a little
course.
bit. Yeah, don't be Pasquale. Do the fuck you want.
Yeah,
Don't need to fucking suck
yeah. I
cocks
mean,
for that, by the way. You wanna
I
wear
know.
some mascara, you already do, but to be honest, you don't
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
yeah. I
suck
know.
anything. You look the fucking
No, 100%, huh?
it's
100%. No, but
it's
I do,
strange.
I
It's
do. If I think about it, like generally, if I were gay, I
yes,
do think that it would affect the way I am because simply I am not gay. So if you change a part of who I am
I
right
don't
now,
know
it
because
would change.
yes,
It would change in some way. That doesn't mean
every
that I should be
time
treated differently. It
yes,
doesn't mean that I
but you
shouldn't be
think
treated as a
you
person.
always think in the positive, like always. And I think in the opposite, in the negative way, from the view of someone else being anti-homosexuals. Okay, there would be some traits that are homosexual traits, and for if you have those traits, I would treat you differently. So what we
Yeah,
if we say personality traits doesn't are not connected with your sexuality. That's the point. Your person
okay,
should not be connected to your sexuality. In this way, we agree that I is me, you like me or not like me, but my sexuality has nothing to do with me. Okay,
100%.
that's the point.
Okay,
It's we
okay,
agree to
okay,
disagree in certain ways because I understand that the fact that the hyper gay dude, classical stereotypes may exist. Okay, no problem. That's him. Maybe he's more free to express himself, but it's his social pressure problem. More,
persona. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's more a
Okay.
question of social pressure
Yeah.
because being
No,
gay is because if being gay is I don't know. It's not a key that opens something. I don't think it's a key that opens something. You may have less social pressure in a way, but social pressure is, let's say, a mental construct. You can get rid of it anytime you want.
I do think you're right. No, no, no. Yeah, I
Yes,
do I
and
do agree
on this
more with
terrible
you.
disappointment, we will have to. No, if you
We'll have
want
to
to
get.
entertain
No,
for a
no,
little bit, it's
no, no, no.
we
I know,
will
I
make
know.
you
That's
think
kind of crazy.
about this. What do you think about this?
Yeah, indeed. I'm really curious about to go on, but no, I do want to close on this. I do think you're right, and I'll rephrase my
Yes,
answer.
rephrase your answer, please.
I I think my public identity would be different.
But
Or
that's because you.
partly no, no, no,
Okay,
partly of my public identity would be different because I would feel either the need for something or like I would feel like showcasing more certain things, but the inherent personal traits that I would still have and
Mm.
showcase in different situations, they would still be just who I am and
Yeah,
and
I
how I
can
am.
very simply say that
So
the first thing is a social construct. You know, it's how
yeah,
society want to see the male, how society want to see the female. It's something very old, something that I disagree with, but it's more that because if you wanted to fucking skirts, wear skirts fucking right now, no problem.
yeah, yeah.
That's the point. You don't need to
I
be
don't
gay
I
to
don't
wear
like how it
skirts.
looks actually.
Uh, so
Otherwise, I would have.
everything you
Don't
want to
worry.
do, in my opinion, as a libertarian,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you should be able to do the fuck you want right now. There
A
should not be a
100%.
social construct. There should not be social differences between male and female subject, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
whole
I do
another
agree.
story for later.
Yeah.
But on this terrible disappointment, we will have to close this.
Jesus Christ! It's been
The
2 hours and
show's
40
too long.
minutes.
No, we really underestimated this shit, and the guy we came in to talk about Nazis in the bars. Lovely. Uh, we're gonna go. We're gonna
He
go.
said that Donald Trump is a genius and he's playing 4K
No,
4D chess. I don't know if you saw.
no, I didn't see it. No, I haven't. Oh,
It's
yeah,
like Donald Trump is a He said he was from America, and then I was like,
No,
R.I.P.
I
Good
read
luck
that,
to
not
you.
all. Okay.
And then
by the way-
afterwards,
okay.
Donald Trump is a genius. America doesn't have political willpower to leave NATO. However, when he seizes Greenland, we will be kicked out by passing our own shitty government for the Chasman.
Nice. Top.
Okay,
Here's a good.
this is
here's a
the
good,
comment. Everything.
good news. Okay. By the way, we're gonna wish you a good night.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Also, with advantage of the station. And goodbye, everybody. Bye bye. Sigla.
Bye bye.
Pa-pa-pa-ra-pa.
Oh, signore,
Pa-pa-pa-ra-pa.
ci siamo ancora.
Pa-pa-pa-ra-pa.
Anche tu, Pasquale.
2 litri.
Porco Dio.
2 litri anche per te.
Era il Cristo.
No, Cristo no.